All right. We're back with another episode, but first the sponsors. As always, head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com and check out all the sponsors. There's a long list there, and I do a terrible job of asking for reviews, so please leave reviews. I want to thank Gallo Technologies for the walls behind us, Right On Metals, Rhino Metals for all the tables, Right On Optics, Galco Leather Holsters, and of course, Blackwater Ammunition. I'm trying to screw my microphone in, so pardon me. And then Quartz and Firearms and Pulsar. I want to thank Pulsar. There's a long list of sponsors, guys. The sponsors are a huge part of the show, so please take a minute to go and check them out on the website and check them out on the links down below. There's a long list of them. I can't thank them enough. The show wouldn't be possible without them. We got a special part 2. Put your cans on. Headphones. Yeah. We got a special part 2. We're going to get into some topics that are important. We got Ace Luciano back, and we're going to get into the industry and what's going on and what's missing and some of the pieces that are going to be affected by a lot of these things going on politically, which is something we didn't touch on in the previous one. So I want to turn it over to Ace. What's going on?
Well,
we know Biden won. Okay.
We know Biden is president. I don't know that we know he won.
Oh, that's a good point. I stand corrected.
And everybody can argue about that, and you can argue back and forth. You say what you want. At the end of the day, what I tell everybody is, look, we all know whose sides are on. Biden was not my candidate, in case you couldn't figure that out.
Not my president.
Well, he's my president.
Not my candidate.
According to the Electoral College, he's my president, but he wasn't my candidate. And I got a lot of real serious issues. I think the most concerning of which was the complicity of the media in covering up and in doing the things that they did. Could you see if Donald Trump Jr. was caught with underage girls or was like
sniffing him?
Yeah, ketchup, but if he was smoking meth and could you imagine? Like, we would hear nothing for 24/7 from the media except what a risk that was, how horrible it would be.
People say they don't care what's on the laptop. I'm curious.
Oh,
curious what's on that fucking thing. There's like weird shitting on people, porn, and who knows what the fuck is on
apparently, you guys,
midgets.
He's quite a deviant, and quite a bad dude.
I'm terrified.
And I love how the media. It's amazing. All the media and all the left has to say is, well, it's fake news. Well, it's not. It's because it comes from Fox. It's not really true. Oh, Newsmax. We all know. And then I recently, especially on social media, people keep pointing to these news rating sites where they talk about who, which side of the line they fall to, and if they're biased right or biased left. And my first question is, who the hell is doing this rating? Half of them look like CNN rated everybody else. It's like CNN, MSNBC, are kind of center left, and everyone else is far right. They're a bunch of it's a bunch of drivel.
That's a whole nother show.
Well, and I look at stuff and I go, thank God for DuckDuckGo. I've been using DuckDuckGo for a while. Shameless plug for DuckDuckGo. I got no stock or anything in it. I don't know, but what I really like is the truth, right? And when you start manipulating things, when you start manipulating the truth, you control the population. And I think there's never been a better example of that than this election. I mean, Joe Biden didn't answer a question for 13 and a half months. He really didn't. Aside from the occasional softball or watermelon tossed up for him.
Right.
Anytime anybody asked him a hard question, it couldn't even speak. And that's what really concerns me. What concerns me, look, I get it. All right, I get it. Donald Trump is not a nice guy. Okay, I understand.
Polarizing.
But, when people say stupid things like, well, he got $1 million from his father. Like, yeah, pal, if I gave you $100 in 5 years, you'd have $20, and these guys talk about, well, it's easy to make 5 minutes. That, I could take 100 people off the street and probably 2 of them would be able to do anything with $1 million to make it, but spend it, right? And actually make money off of it. And most people would just piss it away on booze and women and drugs or whatever. Or, for me, it would be guns and ammunition, I'm sure. I'd probably find a way to make some money out of it. But, you look at that and you say, look, here's got
I'd buy an RV.
Or RV. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'd buy an RV and I'd take Dr. Dave with me somewhere. We're going on a nice little...
Go on a little romantic trip.
A nice
romantic getaway.
Yeah. That's not weird. Listen, there's a segment that we missed out on. I want to get into with you that we kind of didn't even touch on, which is the industry is faced with this risk now. And
we've always had this risk. It's like we all of a sudden
now we have to face
open our eyes and said, "Oh, this is real.
It's real now."
Up to this time, we thought, it's shit got real, as they say. Like
what are some of the threats that the industry needs to be worried about besides deplatforming, which is the obvious? But there's the financial.
We're one click away from losing a ton, and when I say a ton, I mean a ton. Imagine if tomorrow. How many of your websites out there are hosted on an Amazon server? I had a client that had that was using Amazon for some of their computer work, and they were sending out emails. And Amazon came to them and said, "You know what? We don't have any proof of anything. We think you might be spamming. So you got 7 days to tell us what you're going to do to address it and how you're going to fix it. And by the way, if we don't like your answer, you're done. You're shut off. And we're not going to tell you what it is wrong that you're doing. You're going to have to go do it yourself." And all right, okay. Private company. Yeah. Private company, you can do this. But, we've really gotten to the point now where Amazon, Google, Twitter, Facebook, that's the public square. Right. So, okay, they want to be a private company. If they want the protections under Section 230, whatever nonsense they keep claiming, I don't deny them that. I think we need that. I think they need to be protected from liability from what people post and what they do. But conversely, then they need to be absolutely hammered when they do something like deplatform somebody because of their politics. And I'm sorry, but for all you people out there, just so you know, I'm not going to the White House next week. All right, I won't be there. I've decided not to go. I've just incited violence, John. Do you know that? I just incited thousands of people that are listening to this right now, just took my words, and they're going to use that as an excuse to go do damage.
Now, I want to say I disagree. I think that social media should be subject to publishing law. Okay, publishing liability.
Great, if they're a publisher.
But I think that they are.
If they're going to publish and edit, right? Yeah, that's what they've become now.
The moment they step in and they do that, that's where that should meet.
The moment you find that they are biased, the moment they say they cut this guy off and not this guy, you go, sorry,
I think
you're
it's
done.
Ted Cruz that proposed. Somebody proposed that they should be subject to publishing law.
They've done that a lot. A lot of senators have done. A lot of members of Congress have said that.
That's what I believe.
Everybody goes, oh, we can't do that. See, what we can't do that is when it favors one side. When it favors the left, we can't do that. See, when it would protect everybody, well, that doesn't matter because the left has to stay in power.
Right.
And the danger's real, folks. Like, if you are watching or listening to this podcast right now, I'm going to throw it out there. I'm like Nostradamus. A lot of my predictions have come true. One of the big predictions I said is the retail industry is going to be massively disrupted by the fact that I can order whatever I want and have it in front of my house in 2 days for basically free, right? I said that's going to change. It's going to really decimate the marketplace unless all of these companies change to a more experiential model.
Shipping-based model.
Yeah, and well, it's not even a shipping-based model, but like if they're smart, pay attention, retailers. If you're smart, here's what you'll do. You will decrease your inventory. You will increase your experience, right? So in the gun shop, you might keep your high inventory of guns, but what you're really going to have are a lot of guns to test.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to bill yourself not as a place to come buy a gun, but a place to come try all different guns, right?
Right.
If you're an outdoor store and you sell backpacks and canoes and kayaks and things, you're going to have a paddling pond. And you're going to have an ability for everybody to come and try all the different kayaks and canoes and things that they want. and you're only going to have one of each in stock, but you're going to make it so that, hey, you like that one? It'll be at your house Thursday, right? They can come in, figure out what they like and what they want, and then buy it. And it's going to be, everything will be like that. Hunting clothing will be like that. Boots will be like that. You'll go in, they'll have a couple pairs of boots to try on. You decide on the ones you want. You get a personal treatment. You have a boot fitting expert work with you and give you a lot of service, right? And then when you decide on the boots, they'll be at your house in 3 days, right? That's the future of retail. Mark my words. It's already halfway there. And if you can't see that, you need to wake up. We now have Cabas Pro Warehouse, right? One main retailer. Bass Pro Shops owns Bass Pro, Cabela's, and now Sportsman's Warehouse. So if you expect to compete in that realm, good luck. Good luck. I mean, that's just not, if you don't change your model to something better, the guy that has a rack of clothing and some bows and some guns and some miscellaneous ammo and some optics and stuff, he's gone. He's gone, because I literally pick up my phone when I'm in the store and I go click, click, click. Hey, I can buy it here for $9 less. I'll be at my house in 2 days.
Right.
And let me tell you, you wouldn't think that $9 or $10 makes a difference on $1,000 rifle scope. It does. It changes people's mind.
You know, everybody wants it here and now, right? I think that's the big thing, is everybody wants it now. They want it in their hands. People are willing to pay a little bit more even for the speed. So hats off to Captain Moneybags, Jeff Bezos, for figuring it out. You know, he basically created a shipping company that got people their products, because ultimately he found the best way to ship. He said, you know what, I'm going to do better than what UPS and USPS did. And, you know.
You guys have Prime Air here?
Yeah.
We have Prime Air in Phoenix too. It's, you know that you're on the right path when it's cheaper for you to buy your own damn airplanes to ship your own stuff than it is to buy space on other people's airplanes. Talk about an economy of scale.
Yeah, I mean, he's totally unlocked the code. So we all become beholden. The $1 million question is, does he have a monopoly? And what is it a monopoly of?
I think right now, what do they have? They host, I think they host more than 40% of the online storage in the country. It's a ridiculous amount. It's super high.
It's close.
Most websites are hosted there. Most major websites are hosted through their hosting things. So that's dangerous, folks. It's when you concentrate power, it's dangerous.
What was the last company that was ruled a monopoly?
They went after Microsoft for it, you know, and I tell that story all the time, you know. People talk about people's paradigms being wrong. Think about Bill Gates, right? When Bill Gates was head of Microsoft, he was an evil big corporation that was out for profits, and he, you know, did all these unscrupulous things, and he needed to be taken down. He was awful. Now, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation gives away $1 billion a year, which isn't even the interest on his wealth. Like, it's probably only 1% or 2% of the interest on his wealth, right? He gives that away. Now, all of a sudden, he's a great guy. But when he was a bad guy, when he literally single-handedly created tens of millions of jobs and an entire economy. Every guy that punches keys today for a living owes that living to Bill Gates.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, that's not... He gave people in India who would live in abject poverty for their entire lives wealth. He created more wealth in the world than any person single-handedly has ever done before or since. But we don't praise him for that. We praise him for giving away a little bit of money. Our priorities are all whacked out. They're all backwards. But
so to give everybody an idea of what a monopoly is, because people ask, Standard Oil, obviously, 1911, AT&T. Microsoft,
Microsoft,
you got your example in there. Microsoft was one. American Tobacco in 1911. I didn't think of that. Northern Securities. Interesting. Swift & Co. Believe it or not, actually, Swift & Co. was a meat packing, a beef monopoly. Pixar.
Swift Premium.
So probably one of the more recent ones. I want to give people an idea of how often this comes down the pipe. Adobe, Apple, Google, Intel, Intuit, and Pixar in 2010. There was a couple of lawsuits. Kodak. There's one.
Sure, Kodak, yeah.
Alcoa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Paramount Pictures. Interesting.
Hmm.
So to give people an idea of what the government looks at as monopoly, Apple in 2012, the idea was floated of them being a monopoly. They had to pay $450 million in damages. I actually remember that. But a lot of them don't get hit with the monopoly stigma. Something happens before they come to
Semantics.
some settlement. Yeah, they come to some settlement, some agreement. And that's why around 2012 we saw the birth of Android phones and
that's the Jesse Jackson Rainbow Push shakedown.
Yeah.
Give us $1 million, or we'll be out here protesting every day from now until eternity that you're a racist company. So you know what? It's cheaper to give them $1 million.
Google is probably the most recent. It's the last one on the list. They're
still kind of a monopoly.
Yeah.
They're still being prosecuted for it. And you know what? It ain't good. And Google is consistently one of the top companies rated to work for. They do a lot of things right. They really do. The reason they're so good is that I call them the anti-big company, right?
Usually when you get about 20 to 25% of the market share of whatever it is you're into, you start to get looked at.
They have like 80% of the market.
No,
like
100%.
It's not even.
But I mean, once you get to 25%, chances are you're on the government's radar. You know?
Well, if you go to work for Google, you have no vacation time.
It's on vacation.
When you want to go on vacation, you go on vacation. They are a production-based or a results-based company. That's how every company should be run. And learn a lesson, outdoor industry, and
no, we'll never learn that here.
Oh,
that's never gonna happen.
I tell you, if you really want it, if you want to change, if you want to grow by leaps and bounds and have tremendous things happen, you look at companies like Google and you go, huh.
Ace, there's companies that still are checking the clock the manufacturing side of the business is fucked. It's fucked up.
Manufacturing is hard because you've got a different. I don't know nothing against people that work in manufacturing, but it's a different type of worker. You're looking at a person that is a process-based mentality rather than a results-based mentality, right? My job is to take these from this bin, do this to them, and put them in this bin. That's what they do, right? And that the process is what's important to them. If they wanted to immediately gain more value from that employee's labor, they would say, okay, we want you to do this, and if you can hit this number of them per hour with this many errors, we're going to give you a bonus. I guarantee you all those people would be working more efficiently and make more. But no one thinks like that. They think, oh, God, I got to pay all these people, and they're doing this, and how do we get more out of them? People will always work more for the right incentive, and you have to, I've always been a fan. I've got a coach. I got a business coach. And he's fond of saying that people will always give for rewards for themselves more than they will do it for the good, or people are selfish, right? And what you have to do is you have to play to that selfishness. You have to do the right thing. You have to give them the right incentive to work. And if you can't have someone working based on an incentive, you might have the wrong person.
Well, that's why, there's companies out there, I'll say this, that get it, right? And when they go through lean times, they'll get the employees together and they'll say, who wants to take time off? And you'd be very surprised who steps up and who's willing to take time. People will be like, yeah, I'll take 2 weeks. Little Bobby over there, he's got a family. I'll take a couple weeks, let him work, and then you figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I think people want to pull for everybody in that vein, and everybody wants to keep everybody working. And that's one of the, I hear about companies doing that and I get excited. And then you hear about companies that are like, we're just going to go through a slew of layoffs. And that doesn't, all the time resonate with me and doesn't make sense, because I know so many companies have success with just going to a system like that. Who wants to step up and take 2 weeks? You'll get a lot of, single people or people that, the next paycheck isn't necessarily dependent. They'll cut down their hours or they'll do whatever. But there's a lot of risk out there with these brands, and it goes beyond just Amazon.
I can't wait for Remington to reboot. I didn't really see much from them, from SHOT Show and all that. Dr. Dave, did you get anything from Remington? I didn't really see anything.
Give yourself volume over there, Dave. Number four. Number 4. You're 4?
I was just really, really surprised that.
Go ahead. Say something.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah,
How's it
you're
going?
there.
Dr.
Yeah,
Dave
there
hiding
you
in the
go. He's
background
hiding in
here.
the back.
He's our sound engineer today. But hey, I really expected to see something after the big breakup and all that, and I thought, wow, what a great opportunity. Now that opportunity has been kind of wasted, but I have hope because a new iteration of Big Green could mean we actually have a company that makes good and intelligent decisions again, which unfortunately was not always the case there.
Right.
And I don't care. I own a lot of their great product. A lot of their products are fantastic. I'm a green guy, but boy, oh boy, if I could have like laid out a roadmap and said, here's the right choice, here's the wrong choice, somebody in that path. And I have to blame whenever that happens. One of the places you can almost always look is for the big bad profiteers that are coming in and buying companies in the outdoors. They have nothing vested in the company or the future except the profits they can wring out of it. And again,
I selfishly wish Colt or Smith & Wesson bought Marlin out of that
yeah,
deal.
maybe.
I thought it would have fit their SKU palette well.
But they
Classic brands.
didn't Marlin get bought by Ruger?
Yeah.
That was a great buy. That was a great job by Ruger. Smart.
It would have been a great fit for
Yeah.
but I thought Colt could have used it
And
more.
Ruger's like the opposite of Big Green. Ruger
Right.
makes a lot of intelligent decisions. They do.
I thought it would have been a shot
stuff.
in the arm to Colt, though. It would have been good for the industry.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Like a classic brand line. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mossberg
You know what I'm saying?
would have been another one.
Yeah.
I was really surprised Mossberg
There's a lot of ways that could have
didn't
went.
buy Marlin, and maybe they bid on him. I didn't know a lot.
I thought Marlin
in a
was
lot
the
of that.
jewel in that. And besides the ammo and everything, I
Yeah.
thought Marlin was a little bit of a hidden jewel in that whole breakup. But
Well, Vista's now got the corner on.
Vista
them.
got it all.
They got everything.
They rule the
man.
world.
Yeah,
They rule the world.
they could arm
John
arm the
Trull, what do you
entire-
get? President of Vista, a senior
Yeah.
VP, something like that. Shout out to John
Yeah,
Trull.
that's
He's one of the good guys. I mean, he's
Oh,
he
no
gets it.
kidding. No, there's no question. And
Johnny
the fact
gets it.
splitting Vista off from ATK was a great decision. I mean, there was just too many chiefs, not enough Indians, and they actually have people that know what they're doing over there.
I slightly bite my tongue with Remington because I've talked to them so many times. That's going to be an 18-month unpacking, and they missed the boat in many ways because they had they got out of the AR game in many ways. It's and you have too many companies under
What happened to Para-Ordnance? Para-Ordnance had the best double action trigger in the industry, and I haven't seen one in a decade.
I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of Remington. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of Remington because unpacking that, I mean, I can get into.
Again, we're not bashing Remington.
No,
Remington's
no,
iconic company, like great stuff. But
but
it just goes to show you how important decisions are, and how even a not great decision, not even a bad decision, but even a string of a couple of not great decisions can be just disastrous.
Some of those
for your
sub-brands,
brand.
though, like Bushmaster and everything else, should have been rolled up into it in so many ways because you had iconic designs and some decent names in there that could have, like, there was a couple of things in that mix. Like, you had an accessories company, you had an ammo company, you had a classic brand in Marlin, you had two AR companies, you had Bushmaster and somebody fucking else, I forget.
Up in what became Wyndham Weaponry? Was that Bushmaster?
Bushmaster.
Bushmaster, yeah.
Became Wyndham Weaponry.
Became Wyndham.
And then there was another. You're right. There is another one. Oh, DPMS.
DPMS. So
DPMS,
you had to, what I never figured out in that, and I don't know because I don't know the logistics of it. I would need to get John on, which that's a conversation for another time. But they should have rolled up Wyndham and Bushmaster into Remington, I felt, because that was the flagship brand. It's like if you're going to bring something over, start to bring it into the fold. And that's what I felt made the most sense. But they never did that. They kind of ran these all as separate entities. For one reason or another, eventually probably to break it off and sell it like they did, which made, the logical sense in the end with the debt structure. But Remington could emerge very strongly if they take some of the proper steps. Well, Vista now, it's essentially Vista.
Yeah.
If they take the proper steps, they're going to be an interesting one to watch.
Having that ammo factory, God, that thing's only about a decade old.
Sig bid on it.
That would have been a great win for Sig.
Yeah,
Holy
Sig
crap.
bid on it. There was a few. Sig is known. I don't want to say some of the other ones. Some people threw some softballs at it, but Sig made a large bid. Now, the question becomes that there's going to be risk in all these things. I mean, we're obviously facing bank risk, which is another thing.
Don't even start
transactional
me with that.
risk.
We're getting attacked from all sides. The biggest risk right now to the industry, one of the number one, something that could gut us, is if they take away the protection from liability, which every other legal product in the country has. You know, you can't.
And Biden has already promised that he will
Right,
take that away
And
from the gun industry.
And I tell people all the time, like, don't take my word for it, and you don't have to look far. Like, these people they are on record as saying this. This is happening.
And one thing to explain, just in case there's people out here who don't understand exactly what that is. That's basically Ford makes a car.
Right.
You go out drinking, driving, kill somebody. They can't
Ford's
sue
fault.
Ford because they made the car.
Right, exactly.
However, Biden in that, with the liability laws that he wants to change, it's going to take away those protections and said, look, we made a legal product.
Yeah.
It was used wrongly when someone shot up a school or something with it.
Right.
Therefore, all of a sudden, we're going to sue the manufacturer of the product. No, you don't do that with any other industry.
Right.
Right.
But we do it here.
It's not Jack Daniels' fault that you drank Jack Daniels and went out and driving drunk.
And, you know, we spoke about this in the first segment that we talked, like, this is the game plan. This is how the left operates.
So how do they dismantle this? What are they going to do?
You know, right now, today,
the voice,
we
the
have
money.
to be, we have to throw everything we have at this. This is no longer a skirmish. This is like the shot heard around the world, right? When they deplatformed Donald Trump, and then days later, AR15.com and a couple other ones, those should have been the shots heard around the industry.
And
Let's
Parler,
call it that.
Parler was just a whole other,
Parler, whole other
thing.
That's how. Imagine today if GM could push a button and eliminate Ford and Chrysler and go, you know what, you're out, you're gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what would the world say? What would the market say? People would be up in arms, but because some people don't agree politically, you know, shameless self-plug, I wrote a book on kids and guns. And I say this all the time. You know, we teach our kids, by the way, the book is called Guns the Right Way. If we teach our kids about everything dangerous in life, if you have children, you know, they're the most precious gift from God you could ever receive. There's nothing better than your child. And we will take our children and we will tell them, don't touch the stove, it's hot. Don't touch the knife, it's sharp. Look both ways before you cross the street because there are cars, right? Wear a helmet on your bicycle because the pavement's harder than your head. You know, be careful when you're, you know, don't jump out of trees and don't jump. It's dangerous and all that. But literally what might be the most deadly thing they could possibly come across, we can't teach them about because of some hot button political nonsense. Every kid should know it should be like it's a great idea. I don't want to say it should be mandatory because I'm a big believer in freedom, but every responsible parent should take the steps so that their child knows at least the basic rules of gun safety. And I love the Eddie the Eagle program that the NRA does because it's not branded, it's not positive. It says, look, little kids, find a gun, don't touch, run away, tell a grown-up. Right? That's like a message that we got to get out there for that. That keeps our kids safe. We don't do that for so many things. And we have this political battle and we're in a war, not just for our industry, not just for our livelihoods, but for likely the future of our country, the future of our children, of our political futures, of certainly a lot of our livelihoods, right? And if we don't go at this is not something we can afford to be lackadaisical about. This is not something that we can afford. Like, they have fired the first shots. If we were in the naval battle, you know, you talked about the Seawolf, right? If we were in the naval battle, they have fired at our masts and we don't even have the guns loaded to return fire, and we knew they were there the whole time.
I thought Dave would have been more excited about my Seawolf reference. I didn't get the mileage out of that. I think Dave
was a Navy, not Navy.
I was like, I really hit one there, but no, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right, and you know, I don't want to get into subterranean lizard people or the bigger picture. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But the question I always ask is, you know, why? Why do they want to take a well-armed society, which is proven in history as a great defense, and not only that, a protection of the first, the second defends the first. The question's why? Because it's you have to look at it in context of they want a more socialist regime. They want a socialist society.
Centralized power.
Centralized power. And look at what they've done with COVID. We're going to give
Right.
you a payment not to work.
Right.
We're going to up your unemployment benefits.
Right.
We're going to, you don't have to pay your rent. You'll still owe the money,
Right.
supposedly, but if you don't have the money, don't pay your rent. All of that.
Yeah,
so
I
they
keep
bought
asking that
votes.
question. What about the people that own those buildings?
Yeah.
Like, what about the people that own those apartment buildings? What about the investor? Like all of a sudden you just say like, oh, it's okay not to pay them. Now, next thing they're going to do, they're going to say, you know what? You don't have to pay your student loans back. Are you kidding me?
I know. I'm ready to go back and get another degree just so I can get a bunch of loans.
No kidding. I'm like, I'm going to enroll in college tomorrow. I'll go get my MBA.
Well, why not? I'll get a bunch of money. I'll go buy myself a new computer, a new iPad, a bunch of all of this because, hey, it's all free. No, I had a political science instructor in college who used to use the acronym TANSNAFL. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Okay? TANSNAFL. Somebody's going to be paying for this. Right. And although you think, oh, well, I'm not the one paying, you are. Because that guy's not hiring somebody else. So anyways, back to the original question, why are they against guns? Because people who believe in freedom, people who believe in individual freedoms, don't buy into the socialist regime. Right. And with the election of Joe Biden, stolen or otherwise, whatever you want to believe, it just, they've got the presidency, they've got the House, they've got the Senate. They can run over anything right now. And that's where our real danger is.
The only thing
because there is no
Supreme
more
Court.
individuals, and that's what they want. Yeah. Everybody to be dependent. They will dole out. They will decide whether or not you're going to wear a mask, whether or not your business is going to be open, whether or not you can have people in. You can't have indoor dining, but you can have a friggin' tent out in the parking lot that everybody sits in because that's not indoor
You can't have indoor dining unless it's outdoors indoors.
Yeah, all of a sudden
you can have outdoor,
safer.
Indoor dining inside the closed tent with heaters and everything in there.
Yeah,
you can't go in a restaurant.
Absolutely nuts. There's no logic to it. It's control.
You can't get
and
COVID.
They want to control. And an armed society is harder to control.
You can't get COVID after 9 p.m., Dave.
Yeah.
You can't get it. I
know.
Can't
get a girl pregnant after 12. That's why I had to get home when I was a kid by midnight.
Right.
My dad didn't want me to get anybody pregnant, right?
Nothing happens good after midnight.
Right. But, I tell you, and I got to, this is a call out to the industry, and, we got it out there. And I've had conversations with people. I've had people reach out to me. I've been preaching this for not just this election, but previously. We need our own systems, guys. We are like you can't fight a war if you don't manufacture anything, right? So imagine if World War II came and we didn't have any factories to make guns or ammo or anything. We'd gotten creamed. Like, what if we depended on Germany for all of our automobiles and all of our firearms and all of our ammunition, or in Japan, like imagine how that battle would have gone. They'd have been like, okay, we'll just turn off the switch.
What country are we dependent on for ammunition right now?
Our
Malta?
country,
Mexico.
Yeah. Mexico.
No,
Oh, yeah. Mexico makes a
because
lot.
Obama shut down all the secondary lead smelters, which is the primary source.
True.
So what are we doing? We're shipping it in from Mexico. We're letting them have all the pollution. We're letting them go ahead and do it. Then we're buying it from them.
Yeah, what happens
so
when
look
they
at that.
turn
If
off
we
the
do
smelter?
have to go, if they turn off the spigot, then what happens? If someone else decides to pay them
remember
more for
the
it,
Alamo time.
what happens?
That's
the problem when you go with politics and you lose your industrialism.
Yeah.
You sacrifice it for a certain political ideal without thinking about the long-term implications of your entire country.
If we just pay more taxes, if we just pay some carbon taxes, we won't have to worry about any of that, because by paying higher taxes, that decreases pollution.
Or you can just sell somebody your credits.
Or you can sell somebody
your credits. But here's what
right.
I don't understand, because you guys are smarter than me, so I'm going to throw it at both of you.
We're not going to dispute that, John, just so you know.
I don't want you to, because I'm gonna assume everyone in the room is smarter than me.
I'm not a doctor, but
I play one on TV.
I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express.
Dave is a doctor. I am not a doctor. I'm just a smart dude.
But here's the thing. The NRA goes out and spends $4 million on an election in Georgia, okay,
and loses.
As I said, what a horrible candidate. Loeffler was a freaking horrendous candidate. They did that on purpose, and just so everybody listening knows, I'm not anti that. It's just that was a setup. She was a setup from Jump Street. They knew she was horrible. That's why they put her up. Fact. Democrats did that to us. They said, "We'll give you the rich white woman."
We'll give it.
Yeah. Unelectable.
Yeah.
Now, what is it for the NRA to take $400,000 of that money and start building an infrastructure to fix some of these problems?
We need the problem.
Why?
we've got the money, guys. It's $100 billion industry, right? $100 billion with a
and we're
B.
giving $500,000 to the NSSF.
All right, but here's the thing, though. We're giving.
Talk to me.
We're giving money to the enemy. We're giving money.
We're burning
to the
it.
enemy. Everybody that has a site on GoDaddy is giving money to the enemy. Everybody that has a website hosted or storage space on Amazon is giving money to the enemy right now. And you know what? They can shut you down tomorrow. They can shut you down in the next 5 seconds. One guy pushes one button.
Tell me,
you're
why.
gone. You're gone forever.
Who's in these rooms at the NSSF and NRA? Stevie Wonder?
Not the right guys.
Who's in these rooms?
And John, like, these are smart. These are not unintelligent people. These are not unintelligent people. The people at the NSSF are some of the best in the industry, and they're not. But I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know how to answer the question about the NRA. How does the NRA get to the giant clusterfuck that it has become with all of this, with nobody who's minding the store?
Because my issue is, and I think Dave knows where I'm going to go, is the infrastructure's already been built with success. And there's other models that exist with success, transactional models, hosting models, right? We're not reinventing the wheel.
No.
It's fair to say. We're not reinventing the wheel. So why not just look at one of those models? And if I'm the NRA or NSSF, especially the NSSF, because shows are dying, okay? It's a carnival. That's what it is. Sell a booth, get money.
Yeah.
It's a carnival. You're a carny at this point. When they don't have the SHOT Show, they're floundering. They're giving away pouches. At that point, why wouldn't they say, you know what, we need to create a transactional entity that's a safe haven for all of our FFLs, and we can make a rip on every transaction, just like Amazon does.
Right.
So why not?
Right.
Create something like that.
And there, you know what? There is a company out there that I got to plug, and I've got no vested interest in them. I happen to know their marketing person, but I got no vested interest. Everest is trying to battle Amazon. They're trying to be a place for people to be able to sell guns.
But I've talked to some of them
sell
marketing
things
people.
like that.
Like,
and no, she's good. They're good. They're good over there.
I've talked to her. She's a nice lady.
Yeah.
There's another couple guys there that are a little.
There's always another layer back.
Right.
Like you said with McMillan. Okay,
Right.
McMillan was out there, but the bank shut him down.
Right.
The credit card processor shut
Right.
him down. Parler was out there, was gaining a lot of steam. Conservative hosts
All
and
right,
that were
so-
going to shut down their Twitter accounts and just go to Parler to support that because it was a more open, they felt, more communicative platform where they could actually spread their message. But someone else is hosting the web service.
Right.
You can always say,
Write it
why
down.
shouldn't
Write
the
it down
NSSF
today.
start make the safe haven for the FFLs? There's always going to be that one more, or there's that lawmaker who's suddenly going to regulate something. They're going to write it and craft it in a certain way where Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all of that are going to go on. But what are you going to lose? You're going to lose whatever platform the NSSF is using to support those FFLs. And that's the problem where we've lost the House, the Senate, and the executive branch with the presidency. We don't have a safe haven now.
And I want to say, I've talked to the Everest people. She came from Aim Point, right?
Yeah.
Nice lady. But they're kind of all over the place. Like one of the guys reached out to me about
Another one. I don't want to
show.
say her name because I don't know if I have permission to, but she's done a lot of great things.
I've offered them to be on I've said, like, you guys can be on the show, but I think two different people reached out to me, and I'm like, is the left hand talking to the right? Like, they're kind of all over the place with trying to get the word out there. So if Everest, if you're listening, you are welcome on the show. I said this to the woman, and I won't say her name, but you know, get your act together and figure out who's speaking for you. You know what I mean? That's important. I mean, Ace, that's important. Who's your spokesperson for your whatever it is you're trying to do?
Look, who are the juggernauts in the industry? You guys help me with this list. I want to have this list before I walk
6
out
hour.
today. No, I mean like people, right? I'm thinking Pete Brownell. I'm thinking Larry Potterfield, Johnny Morris,
Ron Cohen,
right? Who? Ron Cohen. Yeah.
6 hour.
Yeah. Who are the guys behind Glock? Glock Scott.
The Glock family.
The Glock
Still
family,
the Glock family,
right?
Catherine and Gaston.
The Glock family. We need these guys. We need them to circle, because here's the deal, guys. We need a gun bank. We need a gun credit card and credit card service provider, right? We need a gun server and website host. We need a gun and gun-friendly social media provider. We need gun and gun-friendly entertainment company, because there are people out there that are terrified. And The one time I always said if I got to ask one question to famous people, right, that I knew were in the gun industry, I would ask them, like, what, you know, what's it like being in the industry? And I got to ask that question to Tom Selleck. I got to spend 30 seconds with him and just say, look, I got to ask you, what's it like? You know what his reply to me was? Almost impossible. They get hammered from every direction, those guys. And, you know, they got to work. They got to feed their family. And he's one of the good dudes, man. He's one that still stands up for it. He shows up at the NRA and he does promo stuff and he does things not like, think of all, for everyone like him, there are 500 that are on our side, but that want to work. So why can't we put those people to work? Why don't we have the production company? Why don't we have a gun-friendly production company? Why are anti-gunners profiting from guns in the entertainment world? Why can't we make Westerns? Hell, we got the guns. It's not like we don't know what they are. It's not like we don't know how they work. We're never going to have someone trying to put bullets in a cap and ball revolver like I've seen recently. That was my favorite one. Guy's got a holding the bullet in hand. He's got a black powder cap and ball revolver in his hand. Like, what's he going to do with that? You know, stick it up his nose. Like, I mean, why don't we have that? We need to. And then the Amazon solution. Now we've got Johnny. You're a good businessman. You're a brilliant businessman. I'm speaking to you, Johnny Morris. You've got the corner on the market. Man, can you do some great things? Larry, you're a juggernaut in the industry. You're the way you built your company is a case study in how to run a great company. And Pete Brownell, holy cow, from a little tiny gun shop in Iowa.
Garage.
What you and your family have built. We need you guys, man. And we need
I'd put
you
Marty Daniel
out there.
in that group too.
Right. But like, we need all these guys out there. We need you guys. And we need you going to, you've got, if you don't have, and I get it, like money is not finite, but I believe in business. Like, all right, there's issues. Great. We don't need all of your money. We're not asking for all of your money. But man, I tell you what, sign me to an NDA and give me your Rolodex and I'll get the money. And there's 10 guys like me out there. I'm not the only one that can do that, right? Like, I don't care. Sign me to a confidentiality agreement. Give me your connections, man. Let me get these guys.
But it has to start with the NSSF or NRA getting them all in a room.
Now, I think it's with the NSSF, and the reason is they're agnostic. They don't have any favorites.
Right.
The NRA is a political organization,
right,
and it's got a motive and a mission.
And board
Pete
directors,
Brownell,
and
Midway isn't going to give money to Pete. Pete isn't going to give money because they're competitors.
Right.
The only way that you get out of the competitors is all of these companies within the gun industry supports the NSSF, and the NSSF has to be the one who leads those initiatives because they're there for everybody equally.
So great. Let's talk to the board at the NSSF. You guys just let go a lot of people. That must have been really hard. I feel, I know the money's not there. I know there's issues. I know that you had to go basically with hat in hand begging companies. Man, I heard some of the pitches, you know, from guys that say you got to do this, and kudos to companies like Signal that's stepped up with major cash so the industry doesn't die. But guys, we've got to. I understand we want to have these educational programs and all that, but if we don't focus on this, and I can't, I have to do another name drop here. All right, I can't help but think of my good friend, my other brother from another mother. My Sicilian brother, John Annoni, right? John Annoni has been preaching the message of getting kids out hunting and improving hunting and doing that for
more
years.
Than preach the message. He's walked the walk.
He's lived. He's walked. That dude walks the walk, man. Educator of the year, by all kinds of conservation organizations, and then he's still got to scrape and scrimp and beg and borrow and steal to take these kids hunting. And I'm like, it gets to the point where, and we talk a lot. Like John's, if you don't know John Annoni, look at his organization and all the great things he does for not just hunting but shooting and the outdoor industry. And more importantly, man, that dude saves lives. He saves kids that would otherwise be gangbangers, or they'd be mugging old people or doing graffiti and stuff. He turns their lives around and does just great things for them. His organization is called Camp Compass, and he's been doing it for years and years and years. And it's like every year it's harder and harder for him to get a couple of nickels to rub together. And I look at that and I go, there have been times when he and I have both been talking and said, yeah, I'm tired, man. Man, you get tired. You get tired of being. I understand. I use the analogy of the knight on the hill that's surrounded by the enemy. Because he's a knight, he keeps swinging his sword. And he gets more and more tired by the day. And how long is it before he just takes a knee and goes, that's it. I can't swing.
I understand completely.
Man, there's not one more ounce left in me. I can't even hold myself up anymore. And they swarm him. Like, we're there. Guys, we're there. And this is so concerning that the fact that this isn't reverberating through the industry, it just blows me away. Why don't I hear this on everybody's podcast? I'll call somebody else out because he's a good dude, but Randy Newberg has got a lot of great advice, and he's a very diverse audience. He does, but like, Randy, we need you. You know, Steve Ranella, we need you. Guys, we need your voices. We need your voices, not talking just about the conservation and not just talking about hunting and all that. Now we need you to help the industry. We need your voices out there talking about how we save our industry, how we save our country. And if you need help, you have help. But I know so many people that are ready to get involved. Reach out to me at aceluciano.com. Like, reach out to me. I'll sign whatever you want. I'll talk to whoever you want me to talk to. I'll do whatever it is. I'll talk to you, your people, your people's people, your aunt, your uncle, whoever you think can help. But like, this is a call to arms.
Yeah,
man, the British are coming. They're not coming. They're here. They're ashore.
Ace, you don't hear it on other podcasts, and there's a million podcasts because they're all afraid because you get labeled as, like me, you end up being like, oh, he's just trying to cause trouble. He's just trying to stir it up. This is not
and
they don't realize that you're just trying to open a dialogue. You're just trying to open a conversation.
Let's get in a room. Let's get on a Zoom call.
I'm the first to say, between us at this table, we could get 4 or 5 of those people on that list in a room at the NSSF.
Yeah.
So why not get them in a room and say, we got to fix this, so we're going to have no business left.
Right.
Well, and that's where we need the leadership from the NSF, because the NSF has everybody. They have the ultimate Rolodex. They have every leader, every industry, every influencer, everybody in our industry is already at their fingertips. And there's so much private capital out there with people who aren't major industry people who would take on a tech role or do something else. Who would create a parlor, who would create a television network, Moose Media.
Right.
They're doing great stuff for that. We already have a lot of those platforms within our industry that we can already tap into.
Believe me, just for having this conversation, you know this. You both know this. I'm considered a douchebag just for having this conversation.
Yeah, but we consider that even outside of the conversation. Right. So I mean, that's
actually, you know who talks this a lot.
To me, another show.
No, not another show, but anywhere he goes, Ted Nugent.
Yeah, no, listen,
Uncle Ted.
Yeah,
and you know what? What do people say about Ted Nugent? Oh, he's very abrasive. He's like, Ted Nugent's talking the truth, guys.
Ted Nugent is the most honest guy out there because there's no filter.
Truth hurts.
I mean, years ago, I ran an article that was Ted Nugent, friend or foe.
Right.
And it was pro-Ted, but there is no controlling his message.
That's okay.
He's beholden to no one.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the problem, if you want to call it a problem, with Donald Trump as president. He's beholden to no one.
Correct.
He would upset
conservatives
or liberals.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't trying to please a party. He wasn't trying to adhere to a platform or a certain political box that you wanted to put him in. And that's the way Uncle Ted is. I've known him for a long time. Used to have lunch with him every year. But he could, I mean, when he's speaking, just get the cameras out. Because you just don't know what he's going to say. But whatever he's going to say, he believes.
Cat scratch fever.
Yeah, I'll make the offer to the NSSF. If you cover the expenses, I'll do the work. How many times have you heard me say that in a couple of decades, Dr. Dave? Right? I don't work for free, but this is important. This is important.
Even for the right program, I think we would all throw in the sweat equity for it.
Let's go. Let's all do it.
We've all got too much of a passion. I've 30 years spent in this industry supporting it. not to.
I've said it even about building a proper streaming network, which is something I do know something about. To build a proper, like, let's say NSSF tomorrow wanted to do a paywall. I'll give them the show. Will I give them exclusivity? I'll give them the show. I guarantee you'll get other shows that will step up and say, yeah, you can air us on there, and then in a year, we'll see how it plays out. Like, people say, oh, you're crazy. You would just, if they sell advertising and it makes a buck, it starts with one.
It starts with one, man.
And like, you have to start somewhere.
One person has to stand up and say, you know what, no more.
Dave's been with me when I've gone to booths. The NRA, he's seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Seen it. The man has seen it. And I've said, I'll give you the show. Have I not said this?
Oh, yeah, 100 times.
And I still to this day say it on air. I've marched right to the NRA's booth. I said, I will give you the show. You can air it. Start to create a network.
Right.
So
get something out there.
So when we talk about areas that are in jeopardy, and the streaming being one of them, because we don't have a Netflix for the gun industry, we don't have a platform. If you're going to build one on a proper host, on a host that will host us, you have to have content that goes on that. Where's the content going to go from?
You can't have an empty warehouse.
I'll tell you the problem. Yeah, I'll tell you the problem that the industry is going to face, because they like to learn the hard way. They're going to say, "Oh, Timmy, who does our IG, he can do it," and that's the problem. And that's where the curve comes in. It's going to take a year to figure out that Timmy sucks or Timmy's good, but they don't go out and take built entities, something that's already built. Like you're saying, you're ready to go to the table with the plan. Here's the plan. Instead, they want to, get everything wrong along the way. We need to adjust the curve. We need a quantum leap forward. We need Lawrence Taylor coming in.
Yeah.
Coming in hot. We need someone to say, we got to take a quantum leap forward. There needs to be a Bilderberg summit for the gun industry.
Mike Tyson changed the heavyweight boxing world. Changed the way people fight. Right? Think about that. Think about how dominating Mike Tyson was for years and years, right? Nobody fought like that. He was light. He didn't weigh as much as the other guys he fought, and he crushed all of them. If you keep doing things the same, you're going to get the same results, and we can't afford that anymore. We just can't. We literally just can't. And by the way, everybody that listens to this podcast, you need to support the alternative social media. You need to be on Parler. You need to be on
If Parler even comes back.
Yeah, well, I've seen the messages out there and the in the chat room stuff. They're coming back. They're going to be online. They won't have apps on Apple. There's another thing. How about a ProGun cellular phone? How about a ProGun cellular phone service? How about a ProGun email service, right? How about a ProGun search engine? Like, these are not difficult things. The technology's out there. It's all been done.
The technology's out there, but and this is where you get back to your monopoly thing, are they just going to get crushed by the bigger guy? Google can afford to undercut you until you starve to death.
The point is that we can't, but here's
Amazon
the thing.
Can afford to sell their services cheaper or to make a deal with whoever's, Amazon has the web services, but then whose lines is it being transmitted
We're making the deal with the devil by doing that. And we just got to make a conscious decision. For too long, we've dealt with the devil, right? How many people were just bit by the decision by Facebook to eliminate anything having to do with any kind of gun safes? Really? What a ridiculous move that is. Like, you want to preach safety and all that, now you can't even have gun safes and gun locks, holsters, all things, because someone says, ooh, violence, trigger word violence. This is getting insane. The world has become insane, and if you think these people will stop, you're wrong. They won't stop.
Maybe
they
it has to be adjusted.
They never stop fighting.
What we need to have happen is that it needs to happen on both ends. It needs to be us creating it, but also there needs to be the political ramification to the companies, these monopolies, these structures, that if they thwart our efforts, they suffer a penalty. And what I mean by that is whether it's subjecting them to publishing law, or if they decide to publish or unpublish. So you have to, first of all, I think it's my belief. I get Dave's thoughts because I haven't talked to him about it. I believe that I think it's a no-brainer that when we regain power in the House, potentially the Senate, that they're going to go after Twitter. There's no doubt in my mind. Twitter and Facebook are in trouble. They mortgage their future at the expense of the present.
Eventually, the House will flip. We know that. Politics. It goes from one side to the other. The pendulum will swing.
And I think they mortgage their future by coming out and doing this, whether it's deplatforming Trump or deplatforming the gun industry, slowly but surely weeding out thought leaders. I think there's going to be some ramification for that vis-a-vis law, okay? There will be, because there has to be. And I think that they know they mortgage their future a little bit. Jack doesn't see. I have a theory. Jack and Zuckerberg, they're not Democrats. They're anarchists. They don't care. They came up in that era where Jack is in like Costa Rica.
Yeah, Jack's such an introvert.
Yeah, he
just wants to do his own thing. I mean, that's why Twitter was 140 characters. He doesn't like to talk. He didn't think other people should either. He didn't want a big open platform. He wanted a very concise platform.
I think they're just anarchists. They just want to have this like chaos. They love the chaos because he's like in his boat in Tahiti and he could give a shit. He could really give a shit. He doesn't care. He zooms into Congress to have a conversation.
He's got his money.
He's got his money. You know, he doesn't really I don't think Jack cares about the greater good of society. And I think because you see the way he even talks about it. Oh, you know, my people.
Even if he did, it's only his myopic view. There's no whole world approach. It's his individual view, and he wants to craft it to that. I had a conversation not long ago with a friend of mine. Great guy. His father was a diplomat. He's a VP of a college now, and we were, talking politics and that. And he goes, "We mold minds." I'm like, you mold them to be what you want them to be. Why don't you just teach the students to think for themselves? Oh no, that was out. They want to mold minds. They want to create things that only matches their little view of it. And that's a problem even with some of the stuff we're saying, Ace. Why don't we have a gun-friendly cell phone company? You really need one that's friendly to everybody. We don't want them that's just gun-friendly necessarily. We want them to be as friendly.
But we're there for everybody. We're there, and we especially love gun owners. There were banks that used to give away Weatherby Orion over-unders, and they got pressured.
Oh yeah,
to stop it. Like for
years ago, Michael Moore bowling for Columbine went in, opened an account, got a free gun.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like that's and there's got to be guys out there. Like as a matter of fact, again, I'll throw this out there to the NSSF. I've probably got two pretty serious executives that have been on the boards of large banks. Would be their gun guys. Yeah. Sure, they'd come in and sit on and help you start the bank. Like, but we got to start talking like this, guys, because pretty soon we're not gonna have any options. We're backed into a corner right now.
Yeah.
And when you're backed into a corner, you have two choices: give up or fight. And I don't give up, man. I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
And I can't believe all these other people, all these business owners out there, these guys. I tell you, who I miss every day? Frank DeSoma. You know why I love Frank? Because man, Frank just spoke it like it was. Like you got the straight on. He was just like Ted Nugent. You got what Frank thought. Love him or hate him, that's what you got. And you know what? He did not mince words, and he put his money where his mouth was. And I saw him one time talk to a politician that came to his office to solicit donations. I happened to be in there getting an interview with him, and Frank laid into this politician. I want to say who it was because he's a good politician, but Frank laid into him, and he said, "Look, here's the deal, dude. You better step up, or this is done. There is no more of this because you claim this and then you didn't deliver, so why should I even believe anything you say?" I was like, man, that's the kind of guts we need. We need those people. We need the fighters. And I know guys like Johnny Morris have got to be fighters because you don't get to those levels of business by being complacent, man. Pete Brownell's a good dude, but he's a scrapper. Like like they scrape and scrap and all. And man, I certainly wouldn't want to go into business against Larry Potterfield. No way, man. These guys, like, so we got the team. It's like the Pro Bowl. We could have the Pro Bowl right now. The problem is most Pro Bowls, what happens? The guys are all, they kind of sort of try to want to blow the season. Well, we don't got a season. This is it. Like the Pro Bowl is it. We either win this or it's over.
I'd love to believe the NSSF will step up. I'd love to believe it. I just see them too obsessed with the carnival and not necessarily the experience.
Don't start me with the.
I have to say it, guys. I have to say it. I just see. I see too much of an obsession with saving the carnival at the expense of the ride.
Meaning, are you talking about the carnival shot show or the carnival being the shot? Because I'm terrified about what this is going to do. There are enough companies out there that are dumb enough to think it'll be a good idea to not go to SHOT Show again because they saved a lot of money this year, and don't like wrong decision.
The problem,
if you're a business owner and you're thinking that right now, get that thought out of your brain.
The problem is though the trade show itself is built on mud. Okay, the foundation of the trade show across every business. Okay, trade shows are dying out there.
There's so much more electronic media. There's buyers groups. I mean, I've got friends who own, stores, businesses, and that. And they're all like, yeah, it's a trip to Vegas, and I enjoy Vegas. But realistically, the deals that I'm seeing on the floor, and that's where the SHOT Show's got to evolve.
Right.
It was like, Kodak. Kodak was really great. Like you say, Kodak had the monopoly. Kodak was everything in the photo industry.
Then digital cameras
until it went digital.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where, these big trade shows and that, they're going to have to start looking. Let me ask
you guys have been in different industries. I want to put this on both of you.
Yeah.
When have you gone to a trade show in any industry, finance, pharmaceuticals, anything, insurance? Upstairs is an afterthought. Nobody goes to anything upstairs.
Yeah.
So the learning experience of SHOT Show has subsided for the downstairs, walk around and look at the new pouch or the light rail. That has all subsided, and that's part of the problem. You will weed out the people, the fakers downstairs that are walking around the booths just to take up space, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, but you're going to have that everywhere. Wherever you go
you're going to have that everywhere.
You're better having more of those than you are not having anybody.
But you got to have, Ace, the quality upstairs. These types of conversations that we're having right here need to be going on upstairs, too.
Well, that should be the premise of some of these gatherings, and we should really get...
But they're not. That's my point. They're not.
And quite frankly, you lock at that and you look at that's kind of what NRA is supposed to be, but NRA has turned into kind of a
carnival
show too. I mean, it's...
You're making my point.
The meeting, the annual meeting of members at the NRA and all that it's just a bunch of pageantry. Now, it's not effective, and we need more people. We need...
You hit the nail on the head with pageantry.
It's the same thing that the rest of the industry is going through. Okay, we need to think of this more as a business than we think of it as something we like to do. Because you don't go in this industry because you don't like to shoot guns. You don't go in this industry because you don't like to to shoot bows, or you don't like to hunt and all that. Like, that's what we all love to do. And the reason we do it is because we like it, and that's why we'll put in the 70 and 80-hour weeks, because we're hanging around with a bunch of guys that are just like us and gals that are just like us, right? But it's time to get down to business, man. Like, this is not the playtime's over now. There is no more good old boy network. We gotta we need a general, and I don't know who that is. Like, I really don't know who that is. But we need a charismatic and effective leader, right? We need the guy, I use this analogy with my clients a lot. The difference between a leader and a boss is the leader.
So right.
The leader is the guy that inspires you when you're in the trenches and there's machine gun fire going everywhere and you can barely stick your head up, and he says, you know what? We're going to fix our bayonets. We're going to charge over that hill into that merciless gunfire, and we're going to stab all those sons of guns and kill them all. Follow me, right? And not only does he say that, but when he gets up and goes, everybody goes, right? That's the leader. A boss says, go do that. You guys go do that, right?
Because I said so.
Because I'm the boss.
Assignment.
Here's your assignment. Go do that, right? And I was never in the military, but I've studied a lot of things about leadership, and there's a lot of examples in the military. And one of the things that you have to learn is you have to have not just a charismatic leader, but you have to have an effective leader.
But
you have to have someone that inspires you to do that. And I thinking off the top of my head, who in the industry right now today would you say, anybody, it can come from anywhere, tactical, defensive, sport, whatever, who is the most charismatic leader in the outdoor and firearms industry today? Who's your pick?
Donald Trump Jr.
You think so?
Yeah.
Who's your pick?
He could galvanize it.
He could, but he would. Okay, but you got to understand the firearm industry isn't just conservatives.
Right.
Okay.
But we're talking about a galvanizing.
That's the only problem with Donald Trump Jr. Yeah, I would love him in that role. He comes from a business background with his family and everything. The only thing is, I think that there's a slight bit of polarization there, because people are going to conflate two issues and they're going to bring that. So again, you really need, like I said, when we went back to the NSSF leading this instead of Brownells or Midway or somebody, you need to find somebody who the politics from right and left are out of it.
Who is that? Who's that person?
Well, Dave likens it to an entity. The reason I bring up Donnie is because I think it needs the glue, right? You need someone who's going to galvanize it. If he's calling, you're taking the meeting. And that's what you need. That's what you need right now. You need someone who's going to say,
all right,
hey,
so who's
Pete,
your backup? Because while he's running the billion-dollar industry and saving the world, basically, who's your backup?
Oliver North.
I think Oliver wouldn't be bad. Pick. But again, you're picking a conservative, and that means out of the nation, when we look at the nation holistically, you're taking and you're upsetting 50% of the people. Okay, if we took a liberal, a well-known liberal.
Yeah.
Even if they were pro-gun, so many conservatives aren't going to support them because they're liberal, because they have liberal past, because they've done this and that. So I think that you need the dark horse to rise. Someone like Donald Trump Jr. would be great. He could come in, he could get it moving, he could always be a person pulling a lot of the strings, but then you need someone from the bottom to bubble up and then come out and then be the leader.
He's a lot less a conservative icon, right? Wasn't he a general?
Who?
Wasn't it Colonel?
Colonel West?
Yeah, Colonel West. Yeah. Colonel, right? What a great guy. He's minority.
But he's known as being strongly right wing. And like I say, because politics are that parlor. We keep going back to that parlor. It's going to be a right left issue. And I know when I used to write for the magazines and I used to edit magazines, someone made a comment in one of the articles, faster than a liberal in a lunch line or something like that. And, we got flooded with saying, hey, I'm very liberal, but I own guns. I'm very pro-gun. So, getting away from that single issue person or that single issue mentality, we really need someone for this to be successful. Sure, you can make a conservative platform to compete with the liberal platform. And then you got, a group always looking to shut you down. We need to get to where, again, we try to encompass everybody. Hey, I don't care if you're white, black, green, purple, conservative, liberal, something in between. If you're a gun owner, if you're a gun enthusiast, as long as you support the cause, and that's where you go. And then we need to start bringing industries together. I mean, like I say, last year was my 21st SHOT Show. I was old enough to drink. I said I'd been to 21 consecutive SHOT shows.
Right.
But I remember when archery, you had the archery trade show, but archery was still at SHOT until they kept getting pushed into a corner and just kind of getting pushed out. Now we've got one industry pulling one way. It's a shooting sport, but you got another industry pulling another way. We need to start bringing all these together. You have to get off of the conservative mindset. I mean, yes, I'm a conservative. My politics.
Right, but it's the
me
same
personally.
thing.
But when you're talking business, take the politics out of it.
It's the same thing as everywhere. We eat our own, right? You hunt, you shoot long range, you shoot animals 1,000 yards, so therefore, you're not a real hunter. No, you're a hunter.
I'm a hunter. I don't care about the target shooters or the legislation against them.
Yeah, exactly.
I only have a handgun for self-defense. I don't care about those people who go let the air out of fuzzy critters. Right. That's why I say you've got to bring it all together.
So who's that person?
Like I say, I think that you need a leader like Donald Trump Jr. because we really need to start consolidating and getting together the portion that we can. But then you need someone to rise up, a sort of a dark horse, to rise up from that, him to step aside and let that new person come up and, who doesn't have a record, who doesn't have I'm left, I'm right, I'm this, I'm that. And that's the person who's going to lead you.
I've had some passionate discussions with the person I'm going to name, but I got a lot of respect for him. And he's a very, what's the word that I use? He's a non-polarizing figure. And I got to say, I got a lot of respect for Randy Newberg. I don't always agree with him. And that's what I respect about him. But does he have the
respectful
clout? Dude's got an audience. He's got the clout, he's got the audience, and he's respected. And more importantly, And again, I'm not a fanboy here. This is just what I've observed from a business point of view, from an industry point of view, and close behind him is Steve Rinella, right? Steve Rinella is another one that's right there. They walk the line because they're about their message, and they draw from both sides, right? I think getting those guys behind someone like Donald Jr. would help soften the blow, right? Jr. would be kind of a sledgehammer, in a lot of ways to the guys that are just the back 40 hunters that own a shotgun and a rifle and spend, 10 days afield every year, compared to the guys that are professional shooters and, things like that. But I think those guys could add a lot of value to it.
And it may be that you don't need one. You need more than
one.
Right.
Oh,
you need someone that people from this group are going to identify with, something that people from this group are going to identify this group, and you get 4 or 5, and it's like a city council where it rotates.
Right.
It rotates who's in the lead and how long before you're termed out, and you bring in some new blood, and you keep the mix going. Perhaps we don't need one iconic leader.
Take notice, term limits. Everybody, you do your time, then you move over and you groom the next guy or gal.
Wayne Lafayette.
Yeah. Don't get me started. And again, people said, "Oh, are you anti?" I'm not anti-NRA. I've been an NRA life member since I was 16. Dave, you and I both did our endowment members at the annual meeting at the same time.
No, this isn't a no one's condemning the NRA.
I think that they need some new blood.
Right.
I think that they need a new face. I think you need to keep Wayne Lapierre in a lot of ways because he's so strongly connected.
Right.
He's got where everybody's going to answer his call. Where the next guy coming in on that position, they aren't. I'm not anti-Wayne or anything like that. Right. I think that you need to start putting a new face on it, though. Occasionally you need to rotate in that new face.
This is a Pelosi needs to move aside. Chuck Schumer needs to get out.
That's another podcast. That's another
wrong politics.
That's another show. Listen, the NRA has a golden opportunity to put shine a light on it. They're moving to Texas. This is an opportunity to restructure.
We'll see. I doubt it.
I think that they will.
It's not happening.
I think they will.
I think that they will because one, we're coming in with a very anti-gun regime.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I've talked with John on, and I've said, hey, take the people at the NRA, send this message to them. Ph.D. in persuasive communications. My master's thesis was in fear communications within the gun control debate specifically. The NRA's message. And everybody out there will think of this. What was the last communication you got from the NRA? Because I really don't care what it was. It was doom and gloom. Give me money or else.
Correct.
Chicken Little, the sky is falling.
Correct. Gets old.
The NRA fails to put in, look at what we did great. We won this battle over here. We did that over there. They fail. Everything is doom and gloom. Give me money.
Sensational.
I'm more than, and that works. To a point.
We're giving away
then you get sick one day, you forget to give them money one day, and you realize the sky didn't fall.
Right.
Or why is, they've been in trouble for years, but why are they in so much trouble? Because we had Donald Trump and nobody was afraid of losing their guns. So the fear communication didn't go over as well.
By the way, boy, could I do a major revamp of some of their marketing. I got some of their marketing pieces. I was just shook my head and went, oh, Lord.
But the reason that they've got a chance with the restructuring is the doom and gloom message is going to become more relevant again. People don't feel that they're safe because they have Donald Trump in there to keep this owner's legislation from, they don't have a Republican Senate to keep this stuff from going through. So they are, but I still think that they need to mix their message. They need to change that tone and tenor. They need to come in and show some of their successes. Where did my money go? We've heard the bad stuff about what happened or, supposedly happened or the allegations or whatever it is. But where is all the positive? They should be touting the positive messaging every bit as much. We did win this. We did change that. We did do the Eddie Eagle program. You hardly ever hear, certainly my email box is never full from the NRA, ILA, or anybody else about the great things done with Eddie Eagle. How many kids did they introduce to guns last year? How many safety courses did they do? The NSSF does a bit of a better job with their, their child safe and everything else and saying, hey, we gave away this many gun locks.
Right.
At least they're showing that they did something positive with it. And that's what I think that the NRA misses in their communications.
I think they need a major refacing in so many ways. And
by the way, who gave Dave the mic? He's pretty smart, that guy.
I've been begging to get him on for months, and I'm finally glad he's yapping away. But
I've been on medication that affects my voice and it cracks.
No, he's great.
Sounds like I mouse sexed a bottle of helium or something.
Be quiet for a little bit. We don't want to drink some more water.
But it's when you get into the marketing of it and the messaging, it's a convergence of things, right? So if they had the things I'm talking about, like imagine if you clicked a tab and you were able to see shows, see programming, okay, that you would feel the depth of the NRA. You don't feel that depth. What you feel is a very surface area. We teach, we attempt to legislate, and we pull on your fear strings. And,
right, and they've done a great job
at that. And there's not enough of
the Democrats, the anti-gunners have come out and said, we're going to start fighting at the local level.
Yeah.
Because the NRA has become so strong and done such a good job.
Yeah. And they win.
At the national, the federal, the even, the top state level,
yep.
that they know that they don't have a chance. So they're starting to go, oh, we're just going to pick on Seattle, not the whole state of Washington. Yep. We're just going to try and do this little area or this little issue down here. And that's what the NRA isn't showing. They've done it. They've done a miraculous job with it.
They're
and
like
that's
the
why
Libertarian
we still
Party.
have the rights that we do, and some of them have been expanded and different things. But they don't go out and toot their own horn.
Dave,
that the people need to know.
Imagine if they had a show where you were commentating on this. See where I'm getting at?
Oh, yeah. A show just showing the wins that we had in the industry every week.
There's nobody talking about it, and that's part of the problem.
Isn't that program? Wasn't that what NRA Radio and what
yeah,
Cam
but that
did
was
they had a lot of great stuff like that, and now it's gone.
But that was a derivative of Ackerman McQueen.
Right,
and they didn't own any of it, so
it's not like they don't have any money anymore.
But it's not that hard. Well, I mean, John, what can
I
you do with a small budget right here? Okay, I mean, this is all it takes right there, and they can put it out.
Not everybody has Bartolo's.
If I could do it, anybody can do it. If I'm the chucklehead that can pull it off, it's not hard to do. You know how many times I've stood up in rooms and I said, a cell phone does it. Hello.
My daughter can make videos that I can't. She's 12,
it comes
back to my original.
It comes back to my original themes, guys. You have in place a leadership that little Timmy runs the social media.
Yeah.
They don't listen to them. And if I guarantee you in those rooms, because I know
little Timmy does good. Like I say, my daughter, 12 years old, can run social media that I can't run because it's her and it's her friends, and it's what she does. She can make the videos, she can make the memes at 12. But my daughter doesn't have the experience to know when she's doing right or when she's doing wrong, or how she's going to reach an audience. And that's the problem with little Timmy running your social media. He's functional. My daughter's functional. She could run social media.
Right.
For whatever you give her, she knows how to post and make it.
Right.
But she's not going to see the next trend coming. She's going to wait until all of her friends tell her to do it. She's not going to see what's thoughtful and what may have dangers in putting out in the different things.
Right.
And that's where little Timmy fails a company.
But it's going beyond being, here's a mag dump in a desert. There's a place for everybody. There's great debaters. There's the Corleone Noirs. There's the
he's another good one. The guy's got a voice,
So there's all these great Ben Shapiro's. There's these great debaters, and Ben's probably the best, right?
Awesome.
He's got his brain.
But you have to have
is like elite level.
You have to have people. We joke, but it's true because I legitimately do mean it. If I'm a moron and I can put 325 people in front of a gun wall.
Right.
And I'm a moron, I could go and do this for the NRA tomorrow.
You give me hope, Bartolo. That's what I love.
I should give everybody hope. I genuinely should give everybody hope. But if I'm an idiot and I can do it, I sit back and I say this a lot. It's not hard.
Yeah.
It's not hard. If I can go out and get this all financed, it's not hard. And I look, and the reason I get so frustrated is $4 million to Georgia. $4 million in here? I'd have an aircraft carrier.
Right.
$4 million? Are you shitting me? If you scraped off 10% of that, I'd build you a mansion. I'd build you a mecca of media. These people, and I'm gonna say it, these Mike Dolniks of the world and these people, they have all the fucking resources in the world. Yeah, everything.
Right. So why aren't we?
And they sit in a room. And they're literally playing with their fucking dolls, doing nothing. It's like a Lord Helmet. No, sir, I did not see you playing with your dolls. It's like you're sitting there and you're like, how can we build a bigger mousetrap?
Right. Well,
Why not scrape off 40 grand
right.
and say, let's do something crazy?
Why not scrape off 200 grand? Because it's there. You know, if you had the right team together and you got it doing that it would be there. And again,
you can call me nuts.
You know what?
No, because
everybody
even when they lost everything with Ackerman and McQueen, they should have just pivoted. Yeah, maybe you lost all your hosts that you built up. But as you said, there's plenty of other hosts out there. There's plenty of other people that you can do. There's plenty of small podcasts that you don't have to be directly involved with, that you can support and can still help distribute the message that you need. Tell some of your success stories. Tell some of your some of the, hey, this is going down. We're restructuring and the problems and why we need the support and the different things. Start mixing in the message. Start, doing some of your community outreach in that through these different ones.
Yeah.
They don't have to have it all branded under the main ship flag. They can still be out there supporting, but you still have to know a certain amount that you're out there, and what is my $35 a year or my $600 or whatever I paid, or I've already got all these, I'm up to, whatever level, endowment or patron or whatever. Okay, you want me to go to the next level. Okay, it's not doing me anything else by having a different name tag, a different badge. I'm more than willing to still keep supporting you, but you got to show me something. I know you're doing good because I'm in the industry. I pay attention to this all the time.
Yeah, but it all starts with the conversation. You got to be willing to have the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, there's a place where we can talk. There's a place we all can talk. It's on MeWe. It's called Save the Guns, Save the Country Group. And it addresses all of these things. And it's a place for ideas. It's a place for people to chat. It's a place for people to throw things against the wall and have 5,000 ideas so we can get 3 good ones. And if you're not on MeWe, folks, get on there. They're an alternative social media source. They don't sell your data. Again, no vested interest in them other than that they're freedom-centric. They're not a place that's going to turn you off because your beliefs don't align with the great masters of tech. And we need to start having these conversations, and we need to make the connections, because you know what? We've mentioned a lot of these big names in the industry. You know how many people I know in real business and real world? Guys that are CEOs of major corporations, bank owners, bank presidents, CEOs of large companies that are gun guys, that are pro-gun guys, that would love to help with stuff like this, that might be able to donate, 20 hours of their time, that they could help with something like this. Like, let's get all those guys in the room with the people in the industry. A good idea is a good idea no matter where it comes from. And ironically, I've had the conversation with some people on the left who are really kind of concerned about their Second Amendment rights. They are all on board with everything else that's going on, but they're a little concerned. And we got to get those people in a room with the right people. And we have to get people that have business sense in the room so that we can start making these things happen. And you know what? There's a lot of millionaires in this country. There's a lot of people with a lot of money in this country. Not just people in or out of the gun industry. There's people doing all kinds of things.
Right.
There, one of my favorite books, The Millionaire Next Door, taught me like the most millionaires in the country are dry cleaners. Makes sense to me. When I look at my dry cleaning bill, John, I don't know,
yeah,
I realize you might not know where the dry cleaner is, John, but a lot of them make a lot of money.
Listen, I put a suit on to go to the White House.
Right. You did. I saw that. I was impressed.
I put a suit on to go to the White House.
Yeah, that was
pretty.
That was
draw the line. Listen, we went another hour and a half. We got to wrap. Got to get out of here.
The wrap is, guys, it's time to make a move. It's time for us to step up. It's time for the leaders and the juggernauts in this industry to have us all aligned in one direction. We can't put the team of horses in a circle. We need some leaders. We need people to step up, and we've all got to pull the team in one direction.
Right.
The other side does that. They do it well. They do it exceptionally well. If we don't do that, if we can't find the right leaders, we're done. We're done.
And I don't want anyone to think anyone here is a dissenter. We're all offering free time, anything.
So we'll all put in sweat equity for
everything. Everybody will.
We got to start the conversation.
So let me thank everyone, because this has been 90 minutes of fucking fire. I want to thank Dr. Dave Dolby for chiming in I appreciate it.
Thanks.
I want to thank Ace Luciano for stopping in for part 2. We went 4.5 hours. My brain is fucking fried.
It's a lot of information.
Yeah, it's a lot. And we got to do it again. We got to do it again. I want to thank all the sponsors. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com and go check out the NRA and NSSF. They're great entities. Go support them. USCCA being another. We need them. Go check them out. And there is much more redeeming qualities. So don't take everything we're saying with a grain of salt. So it's just to start a conversation.
Maybe a little garlic and some oregano too.
A little oregano. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the sponsors. Dave, you got the kill switch up there. Take us out. Hit the big red button that says over.
All right.
Adios.
Adios, everybody.